welcome to the NJC's 10-minute takeaway, where we will try and cram as much information as we can into a 10-minute workshop. I'm Tom Stenson, audit trainer and head of training for the NJC, and today I'm joined by Jim Cooke, who's an ADI trainer and governing committee member for the NJC. Thanks for joining us, Jim.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tom.
In today's topic, we are going to be discussing continuing professional development, or CPD, and our time starts now. So what are your thoughts on CPD then, Jim?
I think they're very beneficial, especially in a ever-evolving industry like ours. Rules and regulations change quite often. There's a lot of skills we can develop, so I think it's very important.
Yeah, I mean, I think even sort of if we look back to 2022 when there were updates of the highway code, even things like that, I would class as CPD. If we're having to go and read through sort of books or refresh our memory on stuff like that, I think it's a good, important sort of skill that we should have as instructors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and if we are going to be knowledgeable, then, these continuing professional developments are there for that reason.
So what are the kind of CPD that you do then? So what have you looked for since you qualified?
Well, when I was qualifying, there was a lot of weaknesses in my teachings. Could have been anything from adapting the lesson or, watching the pupil, something as basic as that I was maybe lacking. So to combat that, I would come see my trainer, which was you, and we would kind of go over the things I was missing. And that's a great thing about CPD, is to develop those gaps in your skills.
Mm.
So yeah, I would come up to you quite often with weaknesses, mainly weaknesses in my teachings, and we could just go over those.
And you've
So, yeah.
even done external stuff as well, haven't you? So you've done IAM training. You're going on, I think next month to go and do ROSPA as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So the IAM I decided to do by myself, just kind of well, you put the idea into my head. Because the higher standard that we get when we're driving, the higher standard we can teach our pupils to get. So it was kind of hand in hand, really, the IAM. So yeah, that was something that I decided to do. And then ROSPA again is just one of the things, it's the higher standard.
And have you found that despite that helping with your learners, have you found that moving into sort of PDI training as well, so raising your standard of driving has helped?
100%, 100%. Just something as little as looking further ahead than everyone else.
Mm.
And not thinking about doing it, but naturally doing it, which was the continuing development that I was doing. Every time I was driving, I was constantly on top of my own performance as a driver. So when I was looking at my PDIs or even learners, I was spotting things that I would be doing a lot sooner, and then I'd get the time to look at them, see what they're doing. And like I said, the highest standard of mine is to do those IAMs, the courses, the ROSPA course. The highest standard my pupils would get to.
And have you found that there are still areas now that you want to go and work on? So whether it be with your driving or whether it's with, sort of your instructing or your knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be areas of development. I think a lot of the times we can learn new skills, forget old skills.
Mm.
And then you just go into a habit of doing something where there's plenty of other tools in your box. And this is the good thing about the continuing development, is you can keep bringing those back up into situations, when you'd have better areas to help learners or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I mean, 100%, I do that. Yeah.
And I think one of the things that you and I have got in common as well is we both enjoy learning. So even as an audit trainer, I still go on CPD days. And even if I go on a course and perhaps find that it wasn't as beneficial as I thought it was going to be, there's always some nugget of information there that I can take away. And just seeing it from other people's perspective as well, because we're all sort of teaching from the same sort of material, really.
Yeah.
But seeing what somebody else thinks or how they might explain it, I think is always a good thing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with it. Like you said, I absolutely love the bettering myself. I love that aspect of it. And there's always something to learn. I don't care who you are. You could be the best driver in the world. There's always something to learn of someone.
Mm.
Someone's got a different viewpoint, of a certain situation that could highlight something in you and be like, oh, okay, I didn't think of it that way. I love that aspect. So it's really, really good. Yeah, but with the I do really enjoy it, which is really good. I'd come up to you as much as I can. Again, there's other aspects of it, these conventions that around the place, they're really good because you meet like-minded people
Mm.
with maybe different viewpoints, and you're all there for the same reason.
And you've been to a few of the conventions or expos. What are there anything in particular that you take away when you go to sort of CPD events like that?
Yeah, so in the beginning, there was a lot of the tying into what I was learning myself, and more of an understanding of it, which I really liked. It was because you can learn something, but then you hear it multiple times over different people. It all start to kind of mold into an understanding of what you need to do. And then the more conventions I went to, the benefits I actually found in it was the confidence that I already knew what they were talking about.
Hmm.
So like they could do a conversation, and I was like, I know everything they're saying. So it wasn't like a lost cause. It was like I know my standard now. I know what I know, rather than I can learn this kind of thing. And just by doing that, like I said, it's the confidence then of the knowledge, and it's really, really useful.
And what you've just said there has really hit a note for me because one of the terms I use quite a lot is that people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And I think the more we can go and do CPD, whether that is reading a book, watching videos, or going to some of the conferences and the expos, we begin to fill in those gaps that perhaps we didn't realize we had.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So with some of your trainees then, where are you pointing them at the moment for additional CPD? Because there seems to be a lot out there, doesn't there?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I was kind of getting flooded with a lot of these information.
Mm.
Um, Again, I like to express to my trainees that whatever information you get, even if it's off me, don't be afraid to question it, and get a clear understanding yourself. I point them into the things that I kind of do. I always aim them to your direction because you've been my trainer, and you keep things very simple and easy for me to understand. It's what I aim to do with mine. I think the NJC does fantastic work, so I aim them down the 10-minute takeaways are brilliant. I've actually had some saying how useful they are. Small
Good.
snippets, really good. So these are the things, the conventions, go and do it. And even if they go there and say, actually, I didn't agree with some of the things, then we can have that open conversation, about so what was the benefits of it? What didn't you agree with? How did you see it? And those conversations can be really handy in themselves.
Yeah, it sparks a little bit more of the interest as well, doesn't it? Like you say, if there's a conversation there, even if it's they've heard something that potentially they don't agree with, it gives us that balance to be able to look at both sides of the story as well.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And another good aspect of it as well is when I do the point them in the right direction, I'll always say like the driving essentials, the highway codes, just go over those. One of my PDIs actually, she was doing a maneuver with one of her pupils, and another driving instructor came up and said, "You can't do the 45-degree, you have to do a 90-degree." And being a PDI, she was a bit like, oh, okay, just brushing it off. Okay, thank you. But then, yeah, I would personally say, okay, so where does it say that I
Yeah,
have, where's the information? So she knew it because I pointed out in the right direction, but then it's getting that confidence to actually say to someone, isn't it? Okay, so where does it actually say that? And
yeah.
where's your proof of it? Or is it just something that you feel you have to do? So
And
yeah,
that's why that for me, why I think it's so important that we've got several different types of CPD. I mean, we've spoken about videos, we've spoken about reading books, but even some of the basic knowledge that we as instructors should know. So the DT1 examiner's guidance, the ADI1, ADI examiner guidance as well. Going even further to some of the stuff that's coming out now, we've got companies like Bright Coaching who are bringing in the level 7 from Scotland. So, you know, all these varying degrees of CPD that's out there, I think there's stuff for everyone, isn't there?
There is, yeah, there really, really is. And it's up to everyone. Like I do tell my PDIs, especially like I mentioned to you before, one of them has only seen me instruct.
Mm.
So it's like, it's really important to me, you know, get out there, sit in with other instructors, get their point of view, you know. You can agree or disagree with them. It's entirely fine, obviously, in your own time, not in front of people and embarrass them. But at the end of the day, get your own perspective on it, not just with me, you know. What do you see of other people? What can you take away? You know, was there anything that you spotted? You were like, oh, actually, I would have done that differently, or where's the appropriate questions? How you adapt in the lesson, you know? So, like I say with my PDAs, go see a lot of different driving instructors, get your own opinion on it. Don't just follow me blindly and listen to everything I say. I'd like you to question me. Puts me on my toes as well, which is really nice.
It sure does. Jim, that's the end of our 10 minutes. Can I just say thank you very much for joining us for the session today?
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
And if anybody would like to know any more, if you look into the comments or into the notes below, and we will include some of the information into that we've spoken about in our section today. Thank you very much.